It's a bright, beautiful day. Let's pick some books to read. But before we do that, I want to talk about what's probably going to be the title for this thumbnail, which is I'm not doing any more monthly TBR videos. Now, before you panic, I am still playing my TBR game. I'm just not going to play it every month. I'm going to play it as I get through the books. And the reason being is I've discovered this year that the way I'm playing my TBR game is no longer getting me through all my books, partially because I've been adding a lot of books to my pile of possibilities, but also because the amount I've been reading each month has been varying a lot. And so I decided rather than discontinue playing my game, I'm just simply not going to play it every month. So today I'm going to create a pile of possibilities, and I'm not going to play my game again until I have read, DNF'd, and hauled, done something with all of the books on this pile of possibilities. So that said, I'm going to play my unicorn game to pick 3,000 pages worth of books to read. It's going to be a pile of possibilities that I'm going to work my way through. I do have some things that I'd like to get on there. We'll see if that happens. Okay, I think that's everything you need to know. I have added the full deck of letter cards back in. So these letters will be randomly picked and they will tell me what the title of my book needs to start with. I will spin the wheel. On the wheel are like a whole bunch of different ideas and things that I would like to be reading from. Hopefully, I will somehow squeeze those all in to work for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. But that's a problem to think about later. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. I'll link it in the description box below. You can go and learn all about it over on Stephanie's channel. But for now, let's just pick some books. All right, my first book is a book whose title needs to start with the letter R. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I've got a decent amount of R's. Let's see what the prompt is. Continuous series. Okay, maybe. Okay, let's get to it. Book number one, it needed to be a book that would help me continue a series. Now, I am horrible at continuing series, partially because I have no problem with reading just the first book in a series and leaving it at that. But I want to at least start trying the second book in series, so I figured this prompt would help me do that. Though I feel like this is kind of a cheat, because usually I do only books that are on my TBR or it becomes a unicorn pick, but this is a series that I'm in the middle of. In fact, I haven't started the series yet at the time I'm filming this. Anyway, the series I'm talking about is the Regeneration trilogy. And this is book one, Regeneration by Pat Barker. And it's clearly from my, maybe not so clearly, it's from my library. That's where I got it from. And it is a trilogy, as the name of the series implies. I am about to read book one, and I figure if I read book one and I like it enough to continue the series, it is a book that I would then go out and buy and add to my TBR. I'll probably still try to continue to get it from the library. Anyway, Regeneration trilogy is the series I'm going to continue. Book two in that series is The Eye in the Door. What is it about? No idea. I'm not going to look into it because I haven't even read book one yet as right now. So I will definitely be reading book one. And if I continue with The Eye in the Door, which reminds me of the title of another book. Anyway, The Eye in the Door is 320 pages long. So if I continue the series, I will do that. If I decide not to continue Regeneration series, I will pull a unicorn pick, but I'll take care of that after I've read this and I'll update you during the month. So look forward to that. That's what I'm doing with letter R. I don't know. That's just how I decided to work it out. All right, let's go back to the wheel and pick another book. Book number two needs to be a book whose title starts with the letter X, Y, or Z. Ooh, I have a fun one for X, but let's spin the wheel and see if I can make it work. $2,025 haul. I can make it work. For X, Y, and Z, I needed to choose a book that I had hauled in 2025, and it just so happens that for my birthday, I hauled the book XYZT. So I covered all the letters. How about that? I even added an extra letter on. So yay, this is exciting to get on there, and it's actually good that I just hauled this book because I think this is it's the last book that I own whose title starts with the letter X. I'm okay with that card because it covers Y and Z as well, and I still have a few left for that. But I'm excited to read this one. Maybe I should have chosen one of the other ones. It doesn't matter. Oh, they weren't hauled in 2025. I forgot about the book prompt. Well, let me figure out how to play my own game, guys. All right, here we go. This is what this book is about, since I can tell you about this one. So, first of all, this is based on the author's own experience of being an American in Iran. Does it say what year she went there? No, it does not. Anyway, it's a dramatization of her experience of civilizations, like and different cultures meeting and discussing. And it's a sort of like cultural, historical sci fi blend. And I loved the sound of it. I heard about this book, I think back when it first came out, and then totally forgot about it, never added it to a TBR. And so here we are now. What ends up happening in this book is that a type of advanced technology is created that basically allows people to teleport from one place to another. They end up deciding to use it to teleport people from America and maybe other parts of the world into Iran and vice versa. But not only can they teleport people there, it allows them to evade security and bureaucracy and all of that. And they just get to go there and spend time with the host family. At least that's the plan. But like in all sci fi, when tech is involved, not everything goes as planned. I know that this book is really supposed to be able to surround the idea of living in a different culture, being able to experience what life there is like, to talk to people who live there and that kind of thing, and not have to worry about or fuss about just being able to get to that other country or place, especially someplace where tensions can be running high with the country you're from. So I am really looking forward to sort of the domestic and cultural conversations that I'm expecting to have in here. And I like the fact that there's also a little bit of sci-fi involved. I think at some point also the people start getting teleported back to other places. I may be confusing that with another book. Anyway, this book is 312 pages long and will count for my X, Y, and Z. All right, I'll need a book whose title starts with the letter A through Z. So any book I want. Okay, let's see what the prompt is going to give me, because that's probably going to be a deciding factor. Okay, something that's indie published. For the letter A through Z, I could pick a book whose title starts with any letter that I want, but it needed to be a book that was published by an indie press. I ended up deciding to go with Biblioasis and putting Standing Heavy on my TBR, and I'm not really sure why I went with this book in particular, except for it was in that stack that was next to me. And also, like, this book is haunting me. Like, I saw it for the first time randomly in somebody's TBR video. It then came up when I was trying something else, and then it got suggested to me through somewhere else, and so I finally decided to buy it so it stopped following me around with its eyes. Anyway, Standing Heavy is a book that is set in Cote d'Ivoire, and it tells the experience on 3 different timelines, I believe it is, about immigrants who are from there, but most of them are living in Paris. I think one is either in Cote d'Ivoire or is someone visiting there. That part's not really explained at the beginning of the book, or like the flap of the book. And I'm really just interested in other people's experiences, books that are set in and written from different places in the world. And so I'm starting to try and figure out different ways of incorporating that into my reading, as well as more books by indie publishers. And I've heard a lot about Biblioasis. This may be the only book that I own that's published by them, but I definitely want to keep experimenting with more indie presses. So it's a short little book. It's just 167 pages long, 164. Sorry if I keep looking over here for the numbers. That's where I have it written down. And this should be interesting. I've already kind of glimpsed at some of this book, and the writing style is definitely going to be different throughout the book and different for me. So we'll see how that goes, but it's being added on. I feel like the game is being super nice, so let's see if it continues that way. The next book needs to start with the letter M. Ooh, that's good. I've got lots of M's, so lots to choose from, so that should mean something off of here should work. Okay, I did 2025 haul, so why not 2022? For the letter M, I needed a book that was hauled in 2022, and that may seem like a random year, but really what has happened is that I didn't really start tracking the books that I was reading and or buying until 2022. So that's the oldest data I have on my book buying habits, if you will. And I recently re-looked at all the books that I hauled in 2022, and I realized there's not a huge amount of them, and that if I just make a concentrated effort, I will have read or unhauled all the books that I hauled in 2022, which was just 3 years ago. So that feels like it would be very satisfying to know and be able to say. So I decided to put that on the spinner wheel. That's a long way of saying the book I ended up picking is My Antonia by Willa Cather. And this will be the first Willa Cather I've ever read. I don't know if this is a good place to start with her. I know it's in the middle of a series of hers, but if I recall correctly, the series is more like a series of related stories in terms of the setting is all the same place. I don't believe the characters are carried over from one story to the next. So I don't think you have to read them in any particular order. If I'm wrong about that, please leave me a comment and let me know to start with book one. Otherwise, this is the book that I'm going to start with. It is 222 pages long. I moved my notebook. And what is this about? I'm pretty sure that all the books that are in this series are about women living on the prairie and how they helped settle particularly the Midwest part of the US during the pioneer age. In this case, I know it's the story of a daughter of immigrants. It says Bohemian immigrants, so it'll be interesting to see what this book means by that. And her sort of struggle to survive and adapt to living in the Midwest and the pioneering life, and then sort of her coming of age story as well, it seems like, as she goes from a young girl into an adult woman and a mother, and I guess her struggles with pioneering. So we'll see how this goes. I've heard really good things about this author's writing. It'll be interesting to try her out for myself, and hopefully I enjoy it. Next, I'll need a book whose title starts with the letter V. I think I have 4 books, so I need a really helpful pick off of this wheel. Let's see what it is. 25 and 2025. Oh no. For the letter V, I needed to read the book off my 25 and 2025 list, and it was gonna happen eventually. That book is Vanity Fair. Now, if you recall, earlier this year, I actually got this book on my TBR, and I did not read it at the time because I discovered some things about Thackeray that I didn't know and was quite apparent in the opening of this book. At the time I attempted to read it, I was just overwhelmed by one issue and did not feel like getting more of it in this book. I am willing to still try it. I feel like I'm in a better frame of mind now than I was then. We'll see. This may end up being unhauled though. And I almost didn't pick it up, but I do want to give it one more try, not because I think the plot of it or the issues in it are going to get better, but there is a part of me that wants to see how bad it is and read it for myself and judge, but I may also decide that it's not worth it. So we have to kind of see. This is definitely going to be a life learning lesson type of thing, and finding my own limits with books and writing and content. So that's saying a lot without telling you anything about Vanity Fair, but Vanity Fair is basically a satire of society, Victorian society, and just its moral decrepitude. Unfortunately, Thackeray seems to be full of that himself, so we'll see how it goes. It is coming in at a whopping 809 pages, so in some ways I'll get through my stack sooner if I just unhaul it. But I don't know if that's going to happen this time. Certainly, if I decide to DNF it again, it's just going to be unhauled, but you'll just have to wait and see. All right, next I need a book whose title starts with the letter T. Okay. Okay, a book list recommendation. I think I can do this. For a book whose title starts with the letter T, I needed a book that was a book list recommendation. Last month, in the month of July, I chose a book off of the 1001 Books You Must Read Before You Die. I don't know that I made that distinction clear. This month, I'm going to choose a book off of the 1000 Books to Read Before You Die. Did you get that very small and subtle distinction? I'll put the two book covers up on the screen so you can see the difference. I found last month that the 1001 list was just turning things out kind of okay for me. I've been looking at the 1000 book list, and I think this one actually might be a better book for my reading taste. Anyway, did I tell you what book I'm reading? I don't think I have. I'm just really dragging it out for you guys this month for some reason. To Kill a Mockingbird. That is the book. This also works out because it was in that stack I showed you at the beginning, because it is one of the next upcoming reads that I am doing for a buddy read. And so, yeah, I wanted to get this onto this stack because I'm going to read it anyway. And so it'll help me get through the pile of possibilities sooner if some of the things that I'm required to read get on there. This is part of my ultimate high school required reading challenge that I am buddy reading books with my friend Alex. And yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird. What is this about? Racism in the South in the 1960s? That's basically what it's about. So I'll probably have a lot more to say about it after I read it. I have not read that book since high school, so or maybe it was even late middle school. So it'll be interesting to see how it's held up. I've heard very mixed and different things about it, and I feel like most of the associations I personally have with that book are actually associations with the movie. Next, I need a book whose title starts with the letter P. Ooh, okay. I don't know why I'm thinking about it. Let me spin the wheel. A new release. Huh. Okay, let's talk about this. For the letter P, I received new release. Now, for a moment, I didn't think this was going to work, but I realized that there was something particular I wanted to do with this prompt. So this prompt is just going to be to read a book that is released at whatever month I happen to get to it. Each month for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, you need to read a new release. So if I get to a new release or feel like reading my new release in August, then if there's a new release I'm interested in that starts with the letter P, it will be that. Otherwise, I will wait until September to use this. So I'm not going to use the book for this prompt until I can actually get to a month that has a new release whose title starts with the letter P. I hope that makes sense. I also need a book whose title starts with the letter J or Q. Ooh, options are always helpful. Let me spin the wheel. Okay, 5-star prediction. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to pick. Next, I need a book whose title starts with the letter J or Q, and it needs to be a book that is a 5-star prediction. So something that I am thinking I will rate 5 stars. This was a pretty easy pick. I knew right away what I wanted it to be, and it's Queen Margot by Alexander Dumas. I have been very impressed with Alexander Dumas' writing. I really enjoyed The Count of Monte Cristo. What's the other work of his that I've read? I can't think of it, but I'm looking forward to getting to Queen Margot. I've heard that if you like the vibe of The Count of Monte Cristo and The Three Musketeers, that you will also enjoy this, and that his other works are slightly different. I don't know if that's true, but I'll find out. And this book is full of intrigues of all sorts. The back of this book cracks me up. It says how the lively prose and wonderfully constructed plot tell of court intrigues, forbidden love, beautiful queens, duchesses, noblemen, suspense, conspiracies, betrayals, assassinations, superstitions, poisonings, and sumptuous feast. And if it wasn't for the fact that this was written by Alexander Dumas, I would say no way. But having read The Count of Monte Cristo, I'm like, yeah, absolutely, that's all in here, and in ways that my mind can't even comprehend. And is it pictures as well? No, there's just patterns on the pages. Anyway, this is a longer book at 542 pages, but I'm super excited to get this on my TBR. Hello. I interrupt our regularly scheduled program to come to you with a adding, subtracting a something mistake. So basically, that was my last pick, as I'm sure you noticed by the page count on the screen. But somehow I got confused. I think it was with the new release, and that then threw my page count total off. And in editing, I realized that I spun too many times, had too many books, and then showed you wrong books at the end. It became a mess from the point we just left till now. So here is editing me to come and try and clean things up and finish this video. That said, I feel like it hasn't actually been that long since I filmed that video. I think maybe 2 days. It feels like it's been weeks and months, but that's not true. But for some reason, some things have changed just in however short amount of time that was. Let me catch you up to date. Everything you saw is the 3,000 pages of what my pile of possibilities is going to be made up of. And that includes these books here, kind of, sort of. So let me talk about what I have here. So XYZT, that got on my possible TBR, and I've actually already started it. I think this is what's making me feel like it's been days and ages, but it really hasn't been. But I have started that. I was able to, in the time since I filmed that portion, able to pick up the second book in the Eye in the Door, and I have started the first book, which is Regeneration, and really enjoyed it. So I'm actually really glad that I decided to use this as my continuous series. Pretty much everything else is the same. Standing Heavy, My Antonia. I feel like we have to double check this list together, right? Vanity Fair, To Kill a Mockingbird, the new release that is People Like Us, that messed up my whole page count total. And then it was going to be Queen Margot. But instead of Queen Margot, I'm going to actually switch that prompt and do a J, because it was J or Q. That was a 5-star prediction, and that makes it The Jungle. Now, I haven't done the math, but The Jungle is, let's see, 335 pages long. I'm pretty sure that's almost 300 pages less than Queen Margot. So let's put up on the screen what the new page count total is. My guess is it's probably no longer 3,000 pages, since I think I was only at 3,004. So normally I would be like, time to spin again, but I'm not going to do that for now because I've already confused myself and probably you. So we're just going to call it quits here. We're close-ish enough. And even if we're not, I still have another buddy read that I need to do, book club reads that I could be working on, this, that, and the other thing. So we're just going to end the pile of possibilities TBR game, unicorn game here today. And you know what? This is exactly why I'm happy that I'm not doing monthly TBRs anymore, because it's not that big a deal if it's not precise. This is what I'm going to be reading. And when I finish these books or decide that I'm not going to read them or whatever, but I've made my way through this pile, then I will play my TBR game again. It's probably going to happen sooner than a month, just based on the fact that, like, we're not even at 3,000 pages, but who knows? I mean, it's also going to depend on what ends up happening with Vanity Fair, because that's the longest book in this stack. There are monthly reads that I have to do in future monthly wrap ups. I'll be talking about the required reading that I have for the following month, and that's where I'll talk about those things. The TBR game is now just going to be played like on the go, if you will, and we'll just create other books to surround and cuddle my book club reads and the like. So that's my plan going forward. Hopefully it makes sense. If not, like, come along for the journey and, we'll figure it out together. But I'm excited about this stack of books. Did I tell you what The Jungle is about? It's The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Do you know about it already? Do I need to explain what it's about? It's like the grosser version of Tender is the Flesh, if that's possible. And this version of it is the uncensored version. There will be a video being released sometime this month where I'll talk about what books we're reading in my book club from September through the end of the year. And there's some good ones on there, and I'm pretty excited about it. Is that everything? I think that's everything for this video. If not, I'm not going to be able to figure it out at this point. I'm going to go back to reading XYZT, which is weird. Like, spoiler already. It's strange. I felt lost. I may be found. I may still be lost. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you plan on reading next, maybe in the month of August, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.